Hi, I'm Christine Herman of Herman's Quality Meat Shop in Newark, Delaware. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about meat thermometers. Are you ready? Long ago and far away, we used to cook without thermometers. At least I did. I didn't use a thermometer up until several years ago. I didn't really know the purpose and understand why I should use one and how it was valuable in my cooking experience. Yes, baking, I usually used a toothpick to see if the cake was done, kind of thing, but I never used a thermometer until I began to do a lot more cooking in my store kitchen and learning and realizing the true importance of the thermometer. And also, as our culture has evolved and having problems with E. coli and so on, that we have learned that it's really important to make sure that our foods are cooked to temperature, as the saying goes. And I have a couple of examples of thermometers, and these are just very simple thermometers that we're going to talk about, but they all do the same thing. And basically, the idea is when you cook your foods, mainly we're going to be talking about your meats, is that you want to make sure you cook it well enough to kill any pathogens and bacteria. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, that doesn't happen at home. It only happens in a commercial kitchen, in a restaurant. Not necessarily true. You want to make sure, and I've mentioned this in many of my videos when we talk about cooking meats and roasts and chicken, I always try and mention to you an internal temperature. And that's why, because it is really important. So on to the thermometers. I have a couple basic thermometers. They're all probe thermometers, and they all do the same thing. They just show, like these two are probe thermometers, and this is a digital readout, and so is this one. And they all, as I said, are designed to do one thing, and that is to read the internal temperature. There are, as you probably know, if you haven't investigated one for yourself, if you have a smoker, they have ones with the probe and then a wire that comes out, and this portion actually sits on the countertop, so you can watch your meat cook, if you will, from inside. There's others that you can attach to Bluetooth to your phone. Complicated, maybe not, but the idea all in the end is to make sure that you're cooking your food to a correct internal temperature. So how do you do that? What is the best way to do that? Well, they all have what we call, or what I refer to as, a dimple. And I can show you, well, you probably aren't going to be able to see it from the camera, but there's a little tiny notch right there. I'm pointing to it, but again, the camera may not pick it up. But you'll find it on your thermometer. You want to make sure when you are checking the temperature, the internal temperature of your meat, that the thermometer goes into the thickest part of the meat, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a second, and past that point, not just the tip, but past that point of the thermometer's ability to read the true internal temperature. That's what's really important. And when I say the thickest part of the meat, I will show you what I mean. So here is a basic chicken breast, a boneless, skinless chicken breast, okay? And you have this. So this is the thickest portion of the meat right there. So that's where you want to make sure that you put that thermometer into that thick part all the way in. Now this is raw, so I'm not going to insert it, but all the way into about that far, because the dimple's right there. So I'm going to push that all the way in to make sure that that reading is going to be accurate. And then this dial is going to change, go from 0 to the internal temperature. And in poultry, you want it to be 165. Now in beef, I'm going to show you something similar. Here's a beautiful sirloin tip roast, okay? And again, where do I want to put this thermometer? I want to put this thermometer right here. I'm going to push this all the way in like that. Not here on the end or on this end, right there, until I get my internal temperature to be what I want. And that's what's really important. And that's what I want to make sure that I review with you. And that's my, my goal here today in this video. So poultry and fish, you want to make sure your internal temperature is 165. And the idea is when you insert this thermometer, you want to hold it there for about 15 seconds. It'll take approximately that long for some of these probes to reach that temperature reading. And you want to make sure that it is at least 165 for poultry and fish. Ground meats, beef, game, lamb, pork, even ground seafood, you want to be about 155, 155. And then your roasts like this can be anywhere from 130 to 145. You can go a little bit less if you want, but if it's pork and veal and lamb in particular, well, pork mainly, you want to make sure it's on the higher end. Beef, you can eat it a little more rare, but again, you want to make sure that it's properly cooked. Your meats will continue to cook when you let them rest. So you want to be mindful of that. So you want to realize that they'll cook another 5 degrees or so after you take them out of the oven or off the grill. And those juices will hold in. So you don't want to also be stabbing your meat constantly, because you don't want to let those juices escape either. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that was clear. And something else that you may be wondering is, how do I know that my probe, my thermometer, is accurate? Well, there's 2 ways that you can tell. And you can also calibrate it in this way. And this is kind of like my kitchen tip as well, if you will, is that you can calibrate it with an ice bath. So you fill a glass with some cold water and some ice. It should be 32 degrees. And you want to put your thermometer in there and see where it registers. It should be plus or minus 2 degrees. And there's a way that you can calibrate this by making an adjustment here, which sort of looks like a screw, and you can adjust it to get your proper temperature reading. Or you can do the boiling method, which is putting boiling water, inserting this, and it should read for about 30 seconds. It'll take, it should read about 212. So that is how you would properly make sure that these are calibrated correctly. And there are means by which you can adjust these also. And hopefully when you buy them, you'll get that information as well. So I hope that was helpful and very important. I reiterate this often in my cooking videos and also my meat videos, because it is really important. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you. Your meat thermometer should be one of your kitchen best friends, shall we say. Pick one that you're comfortable with, well, whether it's a high-tech or whether it's something really simple. And for example, this particular one actually has some of the temperature readings on it to make it easy for me to remember those temperatures in case I don't remember. But please, I highly recommend you purchase one. They're not very expensive, but they're really worth it. Thank you. Please remember to become part of the Herman family. Subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, watch our videos, and remember to share our videos as well. Thank you so much.